Good evening, everyone. Our subject for tonight in Administrative Process and Human Behavior in Organization by Dr. Maria Iftelver is Organizational Behavior and Management, lead by Ivan John C. Ferriol, yours truly, from Team Resilient. Our agenda is to answer two main questions. What motivates an individual? What makes an employee become a leader? Also, we may answer some sub questions such as why employees work in a position with their employer, how organizations respond to changes in their external environment, and how do people communicate and make decisions. But first, let us define what is OB. In general terms, organizational behavior is the study of human behavior in organizational setting. In the study by D. Nadler and M. Tushman in 1980, a model for diagnosing organizational behavior in their book Organizational Dynamics, they defined OB as understanding one individual's behavior is challenging in and of itself. Understanding a group organization made up of thousands of individuals and comprehending the many relationships among those individuals is even more complex. Imagine, then, the mind boggling complexity of large organizations made up of thousands of individuals and hundreds of group with myriad relationships among these individuals and groups. So, do we know what is organizational behavior? In organizational behavior model, there are two types of variables. Independent variables or X, dependent variables Y. Independent variables are outside the manager's control, but managers still need to be aware of these variables in order to anticipate their effects. There are three levels of organizational behavior. These are individual. Individual can and may be influenced by personality characteristics, by the person's personal background, and set of experiences from other organizations. As a group, individual come in contact with other individuals or group within the organization, wherein interaction comes in play. The communication between the individual and as a group, and an exchange of ideas. As an organization, this is the collection of people working together to achieve a common goal. That goal is what? Achieving the goals and objectives of the organization. So I'm asking you now, do you know the purpose of your organization? Do you know the vision and mission of your organization? The goals and objectives. As individual, you can be influenced by job satisfaction, wherein salary, benefits will come in play. By motivation, you can be motivated by having a performance bonus when keeping or reaching your KPI, or it could be praise from your manager. Next is empowerment, giving an important task, and reaching or achieving the task leads to promotion. Lastly, ethics, values, and attitudes also may come in play into towards individual behavior, wherein spirituality can come in play. It could be your upbringing in life. It could be your professional ethics by your profession. As Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it is important to know that, uh, as he discussed, that you need to have the four bottom line needs, such as esteem, social, security, and sociological, to achieve a self actualization. When you achieve those four, you can only then will achieve your fullest potential as individual. If such as physiological, food, water, shelter, or warmth is missing, it could affect one's behavior or trait in the organization or in the group. Also, self mm, self actualization. As a group, it is important that you know that you are working with others, your group mates. You also need to know that there is a work diversity, diversity wherein conflict arises. Power and politics is in play. Managers or group units should know the group structure and the right leadership so that the group can make a good decision making. It is also important that you trust your group and the group members so that you can achieve your goals and objectives. Lastly is as organization. In customer service, especially in government, you are serving the public. Next is innovation and change, wherein further development of processes or further research, so that you can better serve the stakeholders. Quality and productivity, wherein effectiveness and efficiency of processes, products, and projects to the stakeholders are well managed by, for example, of application of ease of doing business, RA 11,032 in 2018. Next is globalization as external factor, wherein Philippines adopting the international standards such as ISO certification for quality management, ISO 2015-2018, adoption of other standards such as in what such as in engineering process, or even in other process, or even in audit, in accounting, where an adoption of international standards are in play. Lastly, as work environment, uh, individual or as organization has its own kind of environment. Is it eco friendly? Does the environment is has a work balance? Does it have a safety and assurance to the employees? I would like to also know what is the motto of your organization. It could affect the services of, for example, the LGU or your agency. For example, in LGU Jongan, they have a motto of Serbisyong May Puso. For Romblon, Provincial Government of Romblon, there is one Romblon. Such motto gives an idea of what kind of environment does the organization have. So let us discuss the benefits of organizational behavior. So understanding organizational behavior provides a set of insights and tools that all managers can use, such as organizational behavior is an important topic for anyone who works or who will eventually work in an organization, which is the case for the most people. Imagine the difference between a company with motivated, engaged employees with clear goals and aligned with business strategy, and on with unhappy employees. A lot of conflict will arise by weak leadership and a lack of direction. Management functions. So what makes an individual a manager? Manager is someone whose job is to directly support the work efforts of others. There are four basic functions of management: planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. Let us discuss. Planning is the process of determining the organization's desired future position and deciding how best to get there. There are four types of planning: strategic planning, the setting of broad, long range goals by top managers. Example of which is having a 5-year strategic plan, like reaching the goal of Ambition Natin 2040 by the Philippine government, having a Philippine Development Program for 2017 to 2022. Tactical planning, the identification of specific short-range objectives by lower level managers. So, in local government unit, having a project procurement management plan, annual procurement plan. Next is operational planning, the setting of works and standards and schedules, such as having a Gantt chart for the implementation of projects. So, you could see the workflow of the projects. Same time, the process that's needed, the documentation, all of which is in the operational planning. Lastly is contingency planning. Backup plans in case of primary plans fail. It happens when emergency arises in the when such as the pandemic or other events such as the typhoon or other disaster preparedness. Organizing is a process of designing jobs, grouping jobs into managing units, establishing patterns of authority among jobs and groups of jobs. It is important for the management to know how to design jobs, group jobs, establishing reporting relationships, distribute authority among those uh, unit heads, and coordinating activities between the unit heads or department heads or offices, and differentiating between positions. In the current situation, such as a local government unit, there's already a standard operating procedure by following the Local Government Code of the Philippines. Leading is the process of motivating members of the organization to work together toward the organization's goals and objectives by motivating employees, managing group dynamics, and actual process of leading. So, as management, how do you motivate your employees? By giving them tokens, company outing, or giving them a birthday leaves. In managing group dynamics, it is important to note that management knows the behavior and traits of the employees working with them by having a leadership style wherein you know what is applicable to the group or to the organization itself. That is the actual process of leading. So, your leadership style is like Theory X, a dominant or authoritarian type of leader, or Theory Y, being a participative or empowering your uh, employees. Also, it could be also by being a contingent type theory wherein you are um, goal oriented leader. So, what kind of leader are you? Controlling is a process of monitoring and correcting the actions of the organization and its people to keep headed toward their goals by having a reward systems and performance evaluation. So, Having performance evaluation like in local government unit, having a office performance commitment and review wherein uh, it is the department or unit is being evaluated by their performance. So meeting that kind of performance possibly leads to recognition, reward, or token, or having performance bonus. Also, in in the recent years, it is important to know that staffing is added as one of the major functions of management. So staffing fulfills the need of the organization to find the right people for the right job. Why? Because staffing is costly. There are five uh, functions in staffing, such as evaluating, recruiting, selecting, training, and placing. Civil Service Commission issued a statement to Human Resources and local chief executive or head of agency last February 4, 2021 to come up strategies to address the following: the recovery strategy, the workplace setup, how about the public service delivery, and the policies and program review to adapt to a better normal towards the pandemic. So the question is, how does your organization adapt to the changes of the current situation, to the pandemic, to the new normal? In Mintzberg's management roles, he discussed that there are 10 roles of effective managers. Interpersonal roles, how a manager interacts with other people. Informational roles, how a manager exchanges and processes information. Decisional roles, how a manager uses information in decision making. In interpersonal roles, there are three roles, such as being a figurehead, as a source of inspiration, as a leader, to lead the organization toward their goals and objectives, as a liaison, the link between the organization and the stakeholders. In informational roles, also three, is to monitor the activities of the organization, as a disseminator, to relay the information or important information pertaining to the objectives and goals of the organization, as a spokesperson, as the voice of the organization. In decisional roles, four types. As entrepreneur, since we are service oriented and public service, should be towards service to the stakeholders to solve problems, new ideas, implementation. In disturbance handler, as disturbance handler, he or she is in the front lines of disaster in the preparedness to the projects. Resource allocator, he or she will allocate the fund that needed, the human capital that is needed, and the allocation of organizational resources. Lastly, as negotiator, as the key figure or may take part in the important role in negotiations for the organization in behalf of the organization. Managerial skills. It has five basic skills. Managers apply the basic functions across resources to advance the organization towards the goals by having technical skills, interpersonal skills, conceptual skills, diagnostic skills, and management skills. Let us discuss. Technical skills is needed to accomplish a specific task. Civil Service Commission encourages to adopt encourages the human resource slash personnel to adapt to the competency-based recruitment and qualification standards. Eligibility, education, experiences, training, and adding the competency. Because competency objective is to to assess the candidate's fitness to a particular job, especially managers. Interpersonal skills to communicate and understand individuals and groups. In the 21st century, skills it could be incorporated in learning and life skills by persuasion, communication, negotiation, listening abilities, problem solving, assertiveness, conflict resolution, decision making, teamworking, and emotional intelligence. Conceptual skills. Managers needed to see the big picture. Example of which is knowing the governance of your organization. Also, knowing how a specific output becomes an output. But for example of which is how does a printer becomes a printer? How did it happen? What's the process of it? What the documents needed? What is the approval path? What are the planning that is needed? Diagnostic skills. Managers need to better understand the cause and effect of relationships and to recognize the optimal solution. It is the adoption of scientific method by having a data collection, early problem representation, hypothesis generation, to refine the problem representation, refine the hypothesis generation, final problem solving, and working hypothesis list. Management skills can impact organizational behavior and success of the organization. Lastly, in recent years, emotional intelligence skills is adopted as part of the major components of management skills. It is a manager's ability to understand and manage emotions both personally and in the working relationship with others. Includes social skills, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and self-awareness. Dependent variables or why. Dependent variables in organizational behavior are the employee behaviors that managers try to influence. There are five categories of this behavior. Productivity, absenteeism, turnover, citizenship, and satisfaction. In, in modern theory of organizational model, divine workplace behavior is added. Let us discuss. Productivity is the efficiency and effectiveness with which individuals, work groups, and organization achieve their goals. Efficiency refers to the efforts of resources required to achieve a goal. Effectiveness of the completeness with which goals are achieved. Both are necessary in evaluating the productivity of individuals, groups, or organizations. Absenteeism is the failure of individual to report to work, primarily unscheduled or anticipated absences. Not all such absences are bad, of course. Life happens. Employees or members of the family become ill, or unexpected events occur, such as today, the pandemic. Management must maintain its flexibility in responding to this. When factors in the organization or the workplace tend to increase anticipated or unscheduled absences. However, absenteeism reduces productivity and becomes a management problem. Turnover. The departure of workers from organization voluntarily or involuntarily. When employees leave, organizations must spend scarce resources to recruit, select, train, and develop replacements. Higher turnover rates therefore mean higher costs, as I explained earlier. If replacements are not recruited, remaining employees will face increased workloads, which can generate further problems. Low morale, stress, reduced work quality. Organizational citizenship. It is defined as discretionary behavior or not part of employees' job requirements, but that nevertheless functioning promotes the effective functioning of the organization. It can be translated as employees' willingness to do more than meet the expectations. Good organizational citizenship includes supportive, positive attitudes, stepping forward to accept additional responsibilities, taking leadership roles in organization activities, avoiding conflict, and so on. Some elements of organizational citizenship are difficult to measure objectively, others are not. Job satisfaction. The extent to which employees believe their efforts are being fairly rewarded. This will reflect the level at which employees believe they should be rewarded or expect to be rewarded for their work. Rewards take many forms, varying across settings and workforces, and are not limited not just to economic rewards, like salary and benefits. There are also non economic rewards, where employees have strong mission orientations, have received specialized professional training, identify themselves with communities of like minded professionals. Managers must be sensitive to the variability of rewards sought by different members of the organization. Now, in recent years, defiant workplace behavior is added as part of the as part of categories independent variables. Workplace defiance can be classified as voluntary behavior of the individual, which leads to violation of significant organizational norms or violating the policies and procedures of the organization. It could threaten the well-being of the organization itself by committing fraud or its members by hurting them physically, emotionally, or psychologically. So now, as we discuss the difference between independent variables, the human input, and the changes and stress that the individual, group, and the organization, which leads to human output, depending on the outcome from their productivity or their absences, from their turnover, their behavior toward the workplace, the work citizenship or the organizational citizenship, and satisfaction of the individual.